Facebook Live. There we go. How's everybody doing tonight? Listen, we have a very special guest on tonight. I believe that it's going to be very impactful on tonight. I believe that tonight was going to be so very impactful to your lives. As you guys come on in, I need you to share this video. And as you share this video, I want you to comment below what city, what state you guys are viewing from. I want to see how far we're reaching. I'm excited about tonight. I have none other than Bishop Rudolph Mckissick Jr. on tonight. He's going to give his perspective on what's in it for me. I'm super excited. As you guys come on in, I need you to type in below what city, what state you guys are viewing from. I want to see how far we're reaching. There we go. As you guys come on in, I need you to share. Hit share this video. There we go. My very special guest is here. I'm going to bring him on. This bishop is not allowing me to bring you on. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hope everybody's day is going great. That's what I need you to do. I need you to type in Chesapeake, Virginia's in the building. There we go. It's not allowing me to bring you on, Bishop. If you can get to your iPhone, that would be great. Listen, as you guys come on in, I need you to type in below what city, what state you all are viewing from. We want to welcome you on tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of a different perspective. I'm super excited about our perspective on tonight. Our very special guest. We have a little technical difficulties, but we're going to get that straightened out real soon. I'm excited. I want to hear from you guys. How has your day been? How has your day been? I want to hear from you guys. Type in below what city, what state you're viewing from. Also, as you come on in, type in below, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I believe that this is going to be such a very impactful video on tonight. Hampton, Virginia's in the building. Thank you so much. There we go. Let's see how this works out. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to add my very special, none other than Bishop Rudolph Mckissick Jr. Listen, I'm super excited. Georgia's all the way in the building. Good to see you, Bishop. How you doing?
Hey, buddy. How are you doing, man?
Listen, I'm wonderful. We was getting issues with the iPad, but nevertheless, we have the very special guest, Bishop Rudolph Mckissick Jr. Listen, this is what I need you to do. I need you to type in below, I'm amazing. Bishop, each and every week that I come on live, I have them type in below, I'm amazing. And the simple fact for the reason is I believe that the enemy is trying to attack the saints' self-esteem and their self-value. I believe that when you believe that you're amazing, you begin to speak the fact that you're amazing. It's only then that you will begin to protect the fact that you are super amazing. As you guys come on in, I need you to type in below, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. Share this video. Now, also, I want you to tag somebody in this video. Why? Because there are some people that you're connected to that needs to hear this perspective, that may be in a season that feels as if they don't know what God is doing. They don't know why they're going through what they're going through. And I believe that this perspective that Bishop is going to share with us on tonight will be a blessing to your life. I believe it'll change your trajectory. It will change the way that you view your situation. You'll change the way that you view the season that you are in now. That's what I need you to do. Share this video. Type in below right now, I'm amazing. We're about to get started. Bishop, how has your day been?
Man, it's Monday, so, it's always my downtime. So it's been good.
Understand. Hey, I wonder, how's the weather there in Florida?
Hot. In one word. In one word, it's hot.
Gotcha. So listen, Bishop, we're about to get started. Tell us something about yourself. I know we're going to have some viewers here that's never heard of you, and there's some viewers now that you are America's favorite preacher. You are their favorite preacher. But I want you to share with the viewers, tell us something about you that we don't know.
Something about me you don't know. I'm a classically trained pianist.
Oh, wow.
I started taking piano lessons when I was maybe 7.
Okay.
I'm also a trained organist, classically pipe organ.
Wow.
I don't mess with Hammonds.
Wow.
But pipe organ. I have a minor actually in pipe organ performance.
Oh, wow.
And I can sing in about 4 different languages. I was an opera major in college.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So,
Wow. I never had a clue about that.
yeah,
So
man.
with that, Pastor John Moore, thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, so I want to ask you, where's your first church that God gave you the opportunity to pastor? Because oftentimes we hear the mountaintop story. I know people view you on YouTube now and see millions of views of your clothes and your sermons, and it's very encouraging. But they see the mountaintop experience, but they don't know the valley start.
Yeah, my first church. I started off in the fire. I succeeded. He wasn't my father-in-law then because we weren't married. He was actually one
Okay.
of my seminary professors, but my wife's father
Wow.
died very suddenly. He died at 50 years old of an aneurysm.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was there at the church as his assistant pastor.
Wow.
And the morning they were installing me, he was taking a 3-year sabbatical, actually. And
Okay.
he really, behind the scenes, had selected me as what they called the pastor in residence.
Yes.
And my father was there to preach the installation. The church brought up about 3 buses, and
Wow.
he died that morning of the installation.
Wow. Wow.
And so that was in May.
Okay.
And they installed me as the senior pastor in June. So
Wow.
my first church was Good Shepherd Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia. It was a
Wow. Wow.
very established church. As I said, he had pastored it for 30 years.
Yes.
And he had been the dean of the seminary. He was my Christian
Yes.
education professor. He
Wow.
was an absolute legend, an absolute icon.
Wow.
People don't know, but much of my ministry persona is
Yes.
Dr. Paul Nichols more than anybody
Wow.
else. So I succeeded him in Richmond, man, and I was a young kid, didn't know what I was doing. I was still in seminary,
Okay.
pastoring this church that had been pastored for 30 years by the former dean. So I got indoctrinated early into
Wow.
churchianity.
Wow. I love it. So when did you absolutely fall in love with preaching, the art of preaching? When did you fall in love with preaching?
Long before I started preaching, believe it or not.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
one of the blessings I had, man, my dad brought in all the legends
Yes.
to preach. Dr. E. Edward Jones, the former
Uh-huh.
president of the National Baptist Convention. Dr. Robert H. Wilson was my dad's father in the ministry. He's gone on to be with the Lord now.
Okay.
Dr. Melvin Wade.
Yes.
Dr. Wade came to do a revival when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Right.
So, hearing Dr. E.V. Hill, Dr. Manuel Scott, Dr. Caesar Clark, I heard all of those preachers probably before I was 10 years old.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I fell in love with preaching at an early age, which is weird because I fell in love with preaching, but until my 20s, had no desire to go near being a preacher.
Wow. 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 Oftentimes you hear stories about people that are great in whatever genre, whatever area that they're in, usually have the story that I had no intentions on going into this direction.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So understand it.
yeah, I
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I was destined in my mind to be an
Right.
opera singer, man. I was,
Wow.
I sang in Avery Fisher Hall at Lincoln Center.
Yes.
I sang before my senior year in high school. I had sang in Hong Kong, Tokyo,
Oh, wow.
Taipei, Taiwan, Peking and Nanking, China, Seoul, Korea.
Wow.
I'd sung all those places. And so, man, in
Right.
my mind, I really had 2 desires. I wanted to be the second African-American man to ever make it at the New York Met. And then
Wow.
I wanted to go move to Italy and sing in the Italian opera houses. I wouldn't think about
Wow.
preaching. It was just
Wow.
nope.
Wow.
And I didn't have a
Wow.
father who spent any time, no time at all, talking about what he wished I would become. And I think that also had a
Wow.
lot to do with
Love it.
why I didn't fight it when God
Yes.
brought it to my to my mind that this is what he really called me to be. I never fought it
Yes.
because I never felt forced into it by my dad growing up.
Right. Right. Wow. Well, you know what? Looking from afar, looking at the relationship, and we're going to get to that about the relationship with you and your father. Anybody with two eyes can see that that's your ace. We see that.
Yeah.
But I love the relationship that you have with your son. I saw a clip that you did with your son, and you asked him to talk about the scripture, and he walked off the pulpit, and you closed, and everybody went crazy. But I love the relationship that you two have. What is one thing that you would tell some father that's watching now that wants his son or wants his child to follow in his footsteps, but yet be his own identity or have their own identity? What would you share with them?
I would share with them, teach your son how to be a man.
Yes.
Teach them
Yes.
how to think for themselves.
Yes.
Encourage them to seek to be whoever God has designed them to be. And
Wow.
don't confuse your fatherly desires with heavenly designs.
Wow.
You know, you can't redo your life by trying to make them walk in your shoes.
Absolutely.
The only shoes
Absolutely.
I want my son to walk in of mine is hopefully the shoes of manhood I've tried to show him.
Wow.
But beyond that, I want my son to be who he feels God has destined him to be. So teach them how to be a godly man. You know, show them through how you treat their mother, how to treat a lady.
Yes, absolutely.
And beyond that, trust them to trust God and teach them how to hear the voice of God, even at a young age, to be comfortable with who God makes them.
Wow. Wow. I love that. And oftentimes we see, especially in the body of Christ, we're trying to push our kids, our youth, to be what we want them to be.
Right.
And I know this is not in the script, but I just want to tap on this real fast. How do you feel about people structuring or trying to mold their children or trying to mold the people that they're leading in their church to be a certain way? Knowing that the generation is totally different now.
Yeah, you can't mold people to be a certain way, because that's not your job. That's God's job.
Wow.
I think, you know, we have to teach and respect people to be authentic.
Absolutely.
And respect the power of authenticity. I tell preachers all the time when I'm teaching any class that next to the anointing, the most power you have is your authenticity.
Wow.
So you know, learn to be authentic, because that's who God made you. And I think we make mistakes trying to mold people into who we want them to be, or even mold a church into what we want that church to be. You know, you have to respect authenticity.
I love it. I love it. So what would happen if you're trying to mold somebody into being what you want them to be, or trying to follow your footsteps, and they find out that this is not who they are ordained to be? Now they have identity issues. So what would you share with some young preacher that has identity issues? Because I've been molded, I've been trained. So now what I'm trying to do is trying to fit in.
One, find your own voice. So stay off YouTube.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Quit trying to mimic. I get real tired of hearing young preachers sounding like old men.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
To be sure, I know some young preachers who authentically have old spirits.
Yes.
You know, I think that can be true. But you ain't an old man. You know, you're a young man. Find your own voice and be comfortable with that voice. I think a part of that also is knowing the generation you minister to. You know, the ain't he all right and all of that has its place. And you know, I love that. But your generation ain't trying to be hollered at.
Exactly.
That's the reality. Young preachers want to hear young preachers holler.
Yes.
But young millennials ain't trying to get into that.
Absolutely not.
So I think find your voice, understand the authentic nature of this generation and how they hear. And how they listen, and then develop that.
Absolutely. I love it. So let's do a transition real fast. In 1995, you moved back home to share the leadership with your father. Now, understanding, doing the research, of course, we see that your father served as pastor, the longest pastor that served at Bethel Institute. So let me ask you a question. Was your decision of coming back, because I'm the youth pastor at my father's church, New Rose of Sharon Elam Baptist Church in Chesapeake, Virginia. I was in Atlanta, and my father became the president of the Metro Ministers Conference here in Virginia. So I came back to be of assistance. And when I came back, it opened up so many doors. So looking at the history of your father serving, it was one of the reasons why you came back was to preserve and to help the legacy move on?
No, to be very honest with you, to be quite honest, the first time my father asked me to come back, I said no.
Wow.
I was in a church by this time in Toledo, Ohio. Great church, man. I still to this day say Bethel is the only place I would have left them for. They treated us with royalty. We were growing exponentially. So the first time my dad asked me, I said no. He asked me again, and I said to him with more wisdom than I should have had at that age, I'll only come back if the church votes on me. And older now, I understand that wisdom, and I say that to young pastors all the time. Don't go back because somebody asked you. For a number of reasons. One, because if they ask you, they control the ask, which means they control the destiny. If that church votes on you, then no matter what happens to the person that recommended you, that church has said they want you. So the leaders came to my father. I actually came home to preach his anniversary one year, brought about 50 of my members. We flew down. And the next week, the leaders went to my father and said, you need to bring your son home. My dad, people think church blew up when I got home, and that's crazy. That church was blowing up under my father. Had outgrown the sanctuary then that we had. Even though we didn't build till I got back, he had outgrown it. And so they went to him and said, you should bring your son back. So when he told me the deacons came to him to recommend it, I said, you need to take that recommendation to the church and let them vote on me. So he took it. They voted unanimous. There was one dissenter in the midst. And so after they voted, I felt comfortable because now I feel like I'm coming home with a mandate to have a voice. Because I'm not coming home because my father wanted me at Bethel. I'm coming home because the church said they wanted me at Bethel. Now, in the midst of that, I mean, I'm not going to be so super spiritual. Yes, it gave me the opportunity to preserve my father's legacy and not let that legacy be left to somebody else. Because I've seen too many young pastors in their immaturity and insecurity get into a church and try to destroy the image and legacy of sometimes the very person that put them there. And in the words of Dr. Gardner Taylor, you can't fight a ghost and you'll never beat a ghost.
That's and and I believe that's one of the things that that has hindered a lot of older pastors from trying to bring another young preacher under his wing, because now in generation, and we talked about it yesterday, in the generation of so much information, we feel as if we're more prepared than what we really are. So when I feel like I'm more prepared than what I really am, I get the big head, I get the opportunities, and doors begin to open. What would you say to somebody that's now beginning doors to begin to open?
Well, before I deal with that, there's a flip side to what you just said, and it's probably gonna get me in trouble. But my mouth gets me in trouble all the time. You have a lot of older pastors, who are intimidated by the training and intellect of younger pastors, and that's sad because that keeps them from bringing them in. And that's really unfortunate. So what happens in a lot of these churches, man, they end up calling somebody 50 and 60. Because the pastor doesn't understand the power of succession,
Absolutely.
or they understand it, but they're too intimidated to bring a young brother or a young sister in
Right.
who is gifted and trained. And
Wow.
I think pastors of my generation, but more specifically those ahead of me, need
Right.
to move beyond that.
Absolutely.
And there are great young men and women of God, man, who are being raised up, who are not just anointed, but they're prepared.
Yes.
And sometimes
Yes. Yes.
we're not giving them opportunities, and that's very
Right.
unfortunate. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so I would say to a young preacher who's having doors open, be
Yes.
prayerful, be
Yes.
discerning. Every open door is not a door to walk through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You have to know when it's God. Don't be so anxious to
Absolutely.
be in a spot that you take
Mm.
any spot.
Wow.
And
Wow. Say that again. Say
you
that one more time.
don't be so anxious to have a spot that you
Wow.
take any spot.
Wow. Wow.
You be
Wow.
comfortable as a young preacher, be comfortable enough in your calling
Yes.
and trust the timing of God enough to wait on God to show you which door is his, that because the devil can open doors too.
Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
so I
Wow.
would say be patient, be
Yes.
discerning, know
Absolutely.
if you in your personality, your authenticity, and your ministry
Yes.
philosophy fit that context.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
don't go because the door is open, and don't necessarily go
Absolutely.
because you admire the person that asked you. You
Yes.
got to know if you fit that context enough to be effective.
Absolutely. Wow. That's and speaking of effectiveness, because in order for you to be effective, you have to believe or have to see, I believe, someone else be effective in their lane.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that your father has served for 47 years as pastor.
Yeah,
It's longer than I've lived. I'm 34 years old. 47 years of pastoring. And looking at and reading up about it, understand that he had a hands-on approach to his ministry.
sure.
How has his style affected your style of pastoring?
At first, it had an adverse effect. And here's what I mean by that.
Yes.
My
Okay.
father and I have another uniqueness uh, in a similar way. He grew up in Bethel. My father was born, raised, baptized in Bethel.
Exactly.
And so
Yes. Wow.
a lot of his hands-on was because the majority or many of the people he pastored he grew up with. Many of the people he pastored he knew.
Yes.
So my father is an incredible
Right.
people person. One of my
Yes.
flaws and faults is that I am just
Yes.
becoming a people person. And I call it a flaw and a fault
Wow.
because I think it is a flaw and a fault. Some of it has been my own insecurities. Um,
Wow.
some of it has been my own image issues, self-image issues. I
Okay.
mean, um,
Correct.
and so at first it was adverse because I didn't really, I wasn't feeling being a people person. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so I carried a lot of resentment at first
Wow.
because I was the opposite of him.
Wow. Wow.
And instead of learning, the effectiveness of that people person mentality,
Yes.
I convinced myself that him telling me about being more people oriented was him trying to make me him, and he wasn't.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that's what insecurity will do. It will
Absolutely.
cause you to develop a perception that brings you to a defense mechanism.
Wow. Wow.
Um, but now
Yes.
I know it is a great asset,
Yes.
to be people oriented. That's one of the great things I've
Absolutely.
learned from my dad, to be
Absolutely.
very people oriented, and to love the people. That if there's the
Absolutely.
greatest thing I've learned from my father, it is to love the people.
Wow, wow. So I was watching an interview with you some years ago. And the interview, you said that, believe it or not, I'm shy. And the interviewer person, they said, how is it that you're shy and you get on the pulpit, on the lectern and begin to preach? and it's something that comes on. That was your response. You said it's a light that comes on that I don't know. You can put me in a room full of people and I'm quiet.
Yep.
So elaborate on that. What makes you transition? Because now, before we get to that, let me say this. Oftentimes, we don't view ourselves the way that other people view us.
Very correct.
So people from the outside looking in look at you and say, Bishop is shy? Are you serious? Like one of the most powerful preachers on this side of heaven, in our opinion. So how can you be shy? Come on, elaborate on that for me.
Let me tell you, that has caused me so many problems and brought so many assumptions, because people think I'm arrogant because I'll walk in a room and don't say much, or I'll speak to somebody but keep it moving. I am the furthest thing from arrogant anybody can ever find. I'm a recluse.
Absolutely.
I'm a recluse. I'm very much an introvert.
Right.
What happens on that stage, and once again, I'm not going to be spiritually deep. Well,
of course.
Let me put it this way. We know the anointing. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
But for me, it's I was an opera major. I'm born for the stage because I was an opera major. I've been doing it since high school.
Wow.
There's something about my love affair with the stage.
Yes.
That does something. So in a real sense, it's like what Soren Kierkegaard said, the preacher is on the stage performing for those it's a stage. And
absolutely.
I know, the super spiritual be like, oh my God, he's desecrating the sacred moment. No, I'm not.
Right.
It's
absolutely
a stage.
That's it. That's it.
Yes, the anointing is what takes over.
Yes.
But what brings me alive is a natural instinct that is in me because I'm a stage person.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now, when I come off that stage, man, and anybody will tell you, even my armor bearers will tell you, I go in my office, I don't have nothing to say.
Wow.
And it's just, I'm an only child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I grew up talking to myself. So I'm a recluse. I am very much an introvert. I can go in a room, speak to people to be sure.
Of course.
But then have nothing else to say. I can sit in a meeting and have nothing to say. And it's people who don't get to know me walk away sometimes saying he thinks he's this, and no, not at all. I'm just I'm just an introvert. That's when I get on that stage, though, I revert back to who I've always been.
Wow. I love it. I love it. And now one thing that I've, since I've been following you, Bishop, that has really hit home, because oftentimes the older generation, they believe I'm going to put the church first and I'm going to date my family or I'm going to date my wife. One thing that I love that you have stood for, I've seen you post on Facebook multiple times that I got to go to Virginia, to Hampton, to go see about my children.
Right.
And one of your sayings is, I'm a husband first.
Yep.
I'm a father, I'm a Christian, then I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
What influenced your thinking on that, in that perspective?
My father. Very simple. Wow. My father. When I was growing up, I was an athlete. I played football, ran track, played basketball. Yes. My father never missed, all the way through high school, a single game.
Wow.
Now, he didn't come track meets. It was hot out there. When I made it to championships, he came. But football and basketball, my father never missed a game. Wow. Never missed a game. Never.
Wow.
Even if he showed up a little late to a game, he would yell at that bench to let me know he was there.
What would you tell to some pastor right now that's putting ministry before their children? What would you share with them right now?
That in the end, you're playing a losing game and you're out of biblical order. Because God created family before he created a church.
Absolutely.
And never sacrifice your family on the altar of ministry.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
And I haven't always been that way, candidly. I haven't always put my family first. I haven't always put my wife first, very honestly.
Wow.
But you live long enough, man, and you know, your wife stays with you through your thick-headedness,
Absolutely.
you begin
Absolutely.
to appreciate the asset she is to you as a woman, as a wife,
Absolutely.
and as a partner. Um,
Absolutely.
and you begin to appreciate the balance of family and
Absolutely.
ministry. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, my family's first.
I love it.
Bethel better not ever put me in a position to make me choose, because they'll lose. They'll lose every time. They'll lose
I
every
love it. I
time.
love it. I love it. And I love that train of thought, because the old generation would say, church comes first, then my
Right.
family, then I make
Right.
time for my. And oftentimes I hear this horror story where the pastor treats the church better than he treats his own family.
Yeah.
And that's why I found that so refreshing. Let me ask the $1,000,000 question. The $1,000,000
What's
question
the
for
million
those
dollar
that are
question?
tuning in. Where did Won't He Do It come from? $1,000,000 question.
You know, there are two sources. People are gonna think
Okay.
this is funny.
Yes.
The first person I heard didn't do it like that, but
Yes.
would end a lot of sermons just say yelling, "Won't he do it?" was Dr. A. Lathan
Yes.
James when I was in seminary,
Wow.
Trinity Baptist Church, Richmond. And
Yes.
I didn't realize I was doing it until I used to preach every year,
Uh-huh.
Trinity United Church of Christ, Dr. Jeremiah Wright. I'm as
Yes.
close to him as I am just about anybody. Um,
Absolutely.
and I used to do their men's revival every October for years.
Yes.
About my second
Yes.
year, one of his deacons walked up to me afterwards, and I think it was maybe the second night, and they were like, "You ain't do your thing." I was like, "What thing?" They were like, "You know
Right.
that won't he?" I was like, "I don't even know what you're talking about."
Right. Right. Right.
I actually write about it in my book, Won't He Do It? I went and got the tape
Wow.
from the night before and the
Uh-huh.
years before and listened to it. And I heard myself, you know, "Won't he fight your battles? Won't he make your
Right.
enemy?" And I was like, "Oh, that's what they talking about."
Right.
So I started doing it and more,
Wow.
and it just, and it's really funny because I've seen people on social media have fights because they
Absolutely.
think I started "Won't he do it?" I didn't start.
Absolutely.
Black preachers been saying "Won't he do it" since before I was born.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I don't want no rights to "Won't he do it." Now the whole thing I do, "Won't he fight your battles, make it," that's copywritten. But man,
Right.
I'm not the author of "Won't he do it." I've become
But
so
Bishop,
known
we
by
got to give you that seal, Bishop.
it.
Even though you didn't coin it, but you made it cool to say, Bishop. I got to
Yeah,
give it to you. Yeah.
yeah. But it's just
Yeah.
funny to me, man. I'll see folk on social media, man, and somebody will be like, "That dude ain't make that up," and somebody think they defended me, and I'm laughing like, "No,
Absolutely.
they right. I didn't."
Right.
It's like they not throwing shade at me. They telling y'all the
Right. Right.
truth.
Right.
I didn't make that
Right.
up.
Right.
But
Right.
you know,
Right.
it's, man. Listen, for over 20 years now, it's what I'm known by. It's funny. My wife and I was, where were we? Oh, we were in Hampton this past week, sitting in Cracker Barrel. This woman walked
Right.
past me in a "Won't he do it" shirt and was like, "Bishop, how are you, sir?"
Wow.
Like, yeah,
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
you know, man,
Amazing.
you embrace it, you own it, but you don't
Absolutely.
make it larger than life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You just embrace it, you
Absolutely.
own it.
Absolutely.
If it's encouragement to people, you embrace it and own it, but you don't make it who you are, and you don't make it
Absolutely.
like you are all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So let's transition real fast, because oftentimes me and my best friend, we have this conversation. And he owns multiple businesses. And one thing that we have that we talk about is going after success intentionally. I mean, going after
Mm-hmm.
anything that you're doing, different perspective I'm doing. I went after it intentionally. Did you expect the influence that you have now? Did you go after it intentionally, or did it just God just so
Ab-
happened to make the way open for you?
Absolutely not. I think you chase God and let
Wow.
God make you successful.
Right.
You don't chase
Absolutely.
success. And I
Absolutely.
think sometimes what God will do is put things in front of you to see if you're chasing your future or chasing Him. And
Wow.
I I,
Wow.
I never
Wow.
I never
Wow.
chased success. I chased God.
Wow.
And
Wow.
chasing
Wow.
God opens doors that may lead to success.
Absolutely.
I never went
Absolutely.
after anything with intention, to be very honest with you. Um, you know, it just I don't, to this day I don't know how it happened. I honestly don't.
Wow.
Because I never went
Wow.
after it. I never tried to
Wow.
position myself to be anybody other than who I am. And you
Absolutely.
know, God had just started opening doors. And I mean,
Wow.
to this day, you know, y'all know my best friend, Dr. Jamal Bryant. He fusses at me all the time, and
Yes.
I'll say to him, "Man, don't nobody know me." And he's like, "All right, I'm getting off the phone. I'm done with this," because I don't see myself like that. I just honestly don't.
Wow.
I just don't,
Wow.
and I think that's good.
Wow.
So I think
And I'm glad you said that. And no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
don't chase success. Chase
Absolutely.
God. Chase God. You don't ever
Absolutely.
want God to think you were chasing your future more than you were chasing Him.
Wow. 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 That's great advice. And I'm glad that you tap dance on that as well. So being on national stages, preaching overseas, preaching all across America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then and it's not so much of a celebratory event or excitement, but when you finish closing, have all the preachers at the edge of the pulpit excited about what God has placed on the side of you to speak. How does all that exposure, all those platforms, all those doors that's opening up, how is it that you remain humble?
When you get off
What
that
keeps you humble?
when you get off that stage and call home,
Absolutely, absolutely,
and and
absolutely.
and remember who you really are.
Wow,
When you have a father who reminds you, of who you really are, and it takes.
wow.
I mean, listen, it takes discipline, cause
Yes,
that moment can get to you if you let it. You know that
yes, it can.
that
Yes, it can.
that moment can really, when I
Yes,
yell finally at the end of a sermon, won't he do it? And folk, you know,
yes.
that can, and there are moments when unfortunately I've let ego get in the midst of anointing and manipulated a moment.
Wow, wow, wow.
Um, and and God will whip you enough if when you do that
Absolutely. Yes.
to remind you that that's his moment and not yours.
Wow,
Um,
wow, wow.
I think you keep that in the front of your mind that this moment, Dr. Miles Jones, my late homiletics professor, used to always say that your chief aim in this moment, beyond the integrity of your exposition and all of that, your chief aim is
Yes,
to glorify God.
absolutely,
And I've
absolutely.
never forgotten that. And
Wow,
and
wow.
so, you have to keep that in the front of your head, because if
Yeah,
it'll send you on a head trip if you
yes, it
let
will.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love what you just said. Remember the fact that it's God's moment, not our
Right.
moment. Well,
Right.
let's take a dive into deep. Let's take a dive into deep. Dealing with all of the surgeries that you've been through.
Yeah.
Months, 2 months away from your pulpit. I mean, listen, preachers can really understand this. When you have been preaching, I'm pretty sure you preach maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Hmm.
Preaching that much, now having to stay away from the pulpit for 2 months, not able to preach. Did the question ever run in your mind, God, why this? Why now?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
This wasn't my longest. My longest was 10 years ago now. I had a spinal fusion, and I was out of the pulpit
Wow.
for 4 months.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and yeah, I think, yeah, you have those moments. You're human.
Yes.
Bishop Walter Scott Thomas said something to me years ago that I've never forgotten, that your
Yes.
anointing does not dismantle your humanity.
Wow.
And
Wow. Wow.
in my humanity, I have had moments where
Absolutely.
I was like, God, why? Why
Right.
me?
Wow.
Why again? you, you,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
And particularly, why mess with the very instrument that I need for my calling?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
you have those moments, and I think
Wow.
you have to learn that it's all right to ask why. I mean,
Absolutely.
God,
Absolutely.
first of all, God is omniscient, so He already knows your
Yes.
thinking.
That's it.
It's all right to ask why, as long as you know God is never obligated to answer you, but you're
Absolutely.
obligated to trust Him,
Yes.
even if He
Yes.
doesn't answer you.
That's right.
But yeah, you have those moments where you ask why, and
Yes.
the moments of question are not equivalent to the loss of faith.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
not in my mind, at least. That's
Right.
not equivalent to the loss of my faith. I didn't lose faith, but I did want to know, God, why does this keep happening to me? Spinal
Wow.
surgery, prostate
Mm.
cancer, second
Yes.
time having surgery on my voice.
Wow.
Why? Over the last 10 years, I've had 6 surgeries.
Wow.
God,
Wow.
why?
Wow.
Knee replacement. I mean, come on, man.
Wow.
I'll just be 53 next month. Who gets a knee replacement that early?
Wow. Wow.
So you have those moments
Absolutely.
where you're like, God, I think there are 2 things. God,
Yes.
why me? God,
Yes.
what in the hell are you up to?
Right.
Excuse my language, but
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what I mean, what are you up to? I
Absolutely.
think anybody who says they've never asked that is lying.
Right. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think it is the natural inclination of your humanity
Absolutely.
to ask. You just can't slip into doubt
Absolutely.
if he doesn't answer or if you don't
Absolutely.
like the answer.
Wow, wow. And I love that because oftentimes we get to a place where we want to be super spiritual and say that
Yeah, I
oftentimes we
don't
hear
like
people say
them
this.
folk.
Oh, no, absolutely. I try to stay far away from Bishop, far as away as possible. Because what happens is you mess up the mentality of new Christians or new saints
Yeah,
that don't know nothing about Jesus.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let me ask you a question. We're going to transition a little bit. Um, the topic, what is it that I'm getting out of my trials? What do you get out of your trials, your setbacks, the confusions? Is it just a testimony? What do you get out of it?
No, I think you get more than a testimony. I don't think
Wow.
there's a general answer to that, quite honestly, because
Okay.
I, I think I think a general answer is you should get more than just your testimony out of it. Now,
Absolutely.
what that is, I think is dependent upon your relationship to God and what God is up to in your life.
Wow.
For
Wow.
me, it was strengthening the conviction of my theology. I'm
Wow.
trained.
Wow.
I have an MDiv.
Right.
I have a
Yes.
D-Min. I got
Yes.
theology. I can speak it. I got
Absolutely.
exegesis. I can do it with my eyes closed.
Yes.
But I didn't always have the conviction. I grew up in a
Wow.
preacher's house, so I know all the things to say to make folks say
Yes.
amen. But I didn't
Absolutely.
always have the conviction to partner with the communication. So
Wow.
for
Wow.
me, all of these trials have been developing in me a conviction that brings passion to
Yes.
my preaching, that
Wow.
brings experiential truth to theological facts.
Wow. Wow.
So that's what it's been for me, and it's been humbling.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's
Absolutely.
it's it's kept me humble. It's
Yes.
it's it's kept me humble. It's reminded me that I'm flesh,
Absolutely.
and I don't care who the world celebrates you as.
Absolutely.
Keep yourself on this ground. So
Yes.
those and a practical, quite candidly, take care of your health. Every answer ain't
Absolutely.
super
Absolutely.
spiritual. Get healthy
Absolutely.
and take care of your health, and maybe
Absolutely.
some of these
Yes.
things would not happen.
Absolutely. I was watching the clip about you, Bishop, and this particular service, I mean, changed my whole thinking about ministry. In my opinion, Bishop, watching you from afar, looking on YouTube and seeing how you operate outside of the traditional preaching methods. This particular sermon, I don't know what it was entitled, but this particular sermon, when you did altar call, when you opened up the doors of the church, you said that God was leading upon your heart for every couple that's not married but living together, come down to the altar. I mean, that was such a life-changing moment for me to experience, because here it is, you have people that's coming to the altar in your presence feeling okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But the question that I must ask, those people are being vulnerable. How is it that you can go through your trial and encourage yourself, but yet still have the fortitude or the energy to encourage them as well?
Because that's what I'm called to do.
I love it. I love it. I love
You
it.
know, it's a simple answer, but it's true, because
Yes,
that's what I'm called to do.
absolutely.
Irregardless of what I may be going through,
Yes.
my calling won't let me bleed on my people.
Wow.
Won't let me complain to my people.
Wow.
Because that moment is for me to be an encouragement to them. You know, it's
Absolutely.
interesting that sermon, that moment was impromptu.
Yes.
That was that was not planned. I think I was actually in a family series, but that moment was not planned. I was preaching on marriage, I think.
Wow.
And I have learned, my other spiritual father, everybody knows my father is my spiritual father, but my other spiritual father is Bishop I.V. Hilliard. And his favorite phrase is obey God. Like when you hear something from God, I heard God in that moment while I was preaching say to me, call everybody to this altar who's shacking. And I remember vividly, because I'm preaching, but I'm having this argument with God in my head while I'm preaching. Like, God, you done lost your mind. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And
absolutely.
I heard God say, I ain't gonna let you close this sermon until you do what I asked you to do.
Wow.
So I stepped out there in faith, not knowing, honestly, if anybody would respond. And man, I'm so blessed that all these years later, I think all but one of those couples are still together. And yeah, absolutely amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
You know, you have
let's do a transition, Bishop.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you have to think outside the box sometime.
Absolutely.
And you have to be creative and bold and daring.
Yes.
And people see the sincerity of your heart, and they'll trust it enough to make a move.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody, we're at halftime right now. We're at halftime. This is what I want you to do. If Bishop is your
while you at halftime talking, I gotta give me some water.
Let's do it. Listen, and we're at halftime right now. This is what I need you to do. If Bishop is your pastor, I need you to type in below right now, that's my Bishop. I want to show him some love. I thank him. I'm so grateful that he's on a different perspective right now. I believe that his perspective on this topic is going to be a blessing to some young pastor, some young preacher, to somebody that's watching this live, somebody that's going to tune on this on the replay. This is what I want you to do. I want you to type in below what city, what state you're viewing from. And also, I want you to type in below, that's my Bishop. That's my Bishop. We want to show him some love on tonight because he's actually being so transparent in this moment. I'm super excited on the testimonies that's going to come back, because I believe there's somebody that's going through this trial right now that's saying, God, what's going on? What's up in my life? We're in the transition. We're in halftime. Halftime's about over. So type in below. If this is your pastor, I want you to type in below, that's my Bishop. That's my Bishop. And also, I want you to type in below, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. Because I believe that each and every one of you guys that's watching this live, that's going to watch this on the replay, you are so amazing. All right, let's do a transition, Bishop, real fast. What's in it for me? Preaching styles. You've been, listen, I came to the Hampton Conference. Listen, it was impossible to hear you preach and to stay in my seat. Impossible. Impossible. So let me ask you the quick question. Now, I understand that it's a transition for you,
Right.
going from a conversationalist, from being a preacher's preacher, but now
Yeah.
you have to be conversationalist. How is that transition for you?
Woo! That's been rough,
Wow.
but enjoyable. I mean, I'm only in my third week. You know what I mean? Um, it's been a challenge,
Absolutely.
especially when you get to moments where you want to go get it. But
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I have in 3 weeks. I think in 3 weeks, for instance, they were telling me we've had almost 70 people join in 3 weeks since I've been back.
Wow.
All
Wow.
young
Wow.
adults, young
Wow.
adult couples.
Wow.
So I have
Wow.
seen the fruit of it enough to know that there's something to it. You know what I mean? It's
It
a
is. It is.
it's a shift. It was a shift in style out of a health necessity. My doctor
Yes.
just flat out told me, man, you keep hollering like that because you've got so much scar. I'm working with one vocal cord. The
Yes.
other is
Yes.
paralyzed, which is why I have so much scarring. So
Wow.
my doctor said, yeah, you keep hollering like that, you'll lose your complete voice in a year.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a necessity.
Yes.
Now, he told me today, it's funny, I showed him a clip from last Sunday. I hollered one time just without
Uh,
thinking. And he said, now, you do that, every once in a while, it ain't gonna hurt you.
right.
But you can't do that for a whole sermon, and you can't do it every week.
Wow. Wow.
Um, and the effect it has had on my church
Yes.
is beyond amazing. It is what I
Wow.
can say.
Wow. Wow.
It's it's just been beyond amazing. It
Wow.
really has been, and so it's an adjustment. But I'm loving it now. When I get on that
Yes.
road, I don't know what's gonna
Absolutely.
happen.
Absolutely. It's gonna
But
be difficult.
yeah, but it's blessing my church, and at the end of the
Wow.
day, that can't be a narcissistic moment for me to hear myself holler and to watch people respond because I'm hollering.
Yes.
That ain't what it's all
Yes.
about. It's about
Absolutely.
trying
Absolutely.
to grow people and learn people. And the response of the people I pastor has just been
Yes.
amazing. It's been
Wow.
amazing.
Wow. Wow. So do you think um, that it's a reason behind
Hmm.
God making you switch or placing you in position that you have no other choice? And let me pause real fast before we answer that question. I feel real honored because CNN hasn't even had the opportunity to interview you. This is
That's
such an
funny.
iconic moment
That's
that's going to go
funny.
down in history. So tell me. So do you believe that it's a reason that this switch has positioned you in a place where you have no other option?
Yeah, I think the median age in my church now is 32.
Okay.
The average age of a joiner over the last couple of years is 29.
Wow.
In a very real sense, I have a young adult church. Young
Yes.
folk don't want to be hollered at.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
that's and let me just say this. I'm not saying that anybody that still has a traditional delivery style and has
Yes.
music in their voice, that ain't wrong.
Right.
And if God puts me in that moment and allows that in a moment, then so this is not a one against the other or one is better than the other, but for where
Absolutely.
God has me now, and I think for where
Yes.
God has my church now,
Wow.
this is what grows my church. I think that's my
Wow.
best answer. Not
Being
that
effective.
this is the best way to grow a church. I can't say
Right.
that.
Right. Right. Right.
But this is the best way to grow my church right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's important. I love because you said in the beginning, it's so very important to stay in your lane. Now, I got to ask the $2 million question
Okay.
because there's preachers all over the world that's going to ask this critical question. You said it, that when you get on the road, it's going to be difficult.
Right.
There's preachers, pastors, people who love great preaching to be encouraged. How long will it be until you can go back to your old style?
That's making the assumption I'll go back.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I
Okay.
you know, I don't really have an answer to that.
Gotcha.
I'll say this. Anybody who stops inviting me
Yes.
showed they were more interested in my style than in my substance.
Wow. 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 I love it. Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
if you stop inviting me because I don't holler, then you were inviting
Yes.
me to entertain your people and not help grow your people.
Wow.
You know, I've got a new
Wow.
saying at my
Wow.
church, and
Wow.
I've said it for 3 weeks with this new style. Anybody who wants to be entertained can't stay, and anybody who wants to grow can't leave.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I mean, that's a great perspective at it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just kind of where I am. You know, if
Wow.
people just want to get that word, and
Absolutely.
for my church,
Yes.
this is where God has me for my church. I'm not saying that other
Absolutely.
style, that the other delivery style is not still in me, and that there won't be moments where it
Yes.
comes out of me. Not saying that, but
Yes.
this is where God has me right now.
Absolutely. Listen, Bishop,
Yeah.
I'm down to my last 3 questions. You have been
Okay.
such an amazing guest on a different perspective. And I believe that people on this page right now are going to be blessed. I believe that their lives are going to be changed. And I'm not just saying that just to make anybody feel good. I'm not saying that to get any response, but I truly believe that listening to the conversation that we're having now, people are going to be blessed. Their lives are going to be changed. Let me ask you with this question. We got 3 last questions left, but the first question I want to ask, and before I ask that question, share this video, you guys, because the questions that we're about to ask now is going to be life-changing. To some young preacher, some young pastor that's single, or a pastor that's married already.
Mm-hmm.
Two-part question to this.
Okay.
How important is it to have a wife that's in your corner?
You're meddling now. To a single pastor, I don't think that's a question I need to answer, because the implication of that is you can't really be ministerially successful without a wife, and I don't agree with that.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that. To those who are married,
Yes.
Your wife is your wife. Now, if your wife
Yes.
happens to be, my wife is becoming more and more and more and more and more also my partner in
Yes.
ministry.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to have a wife who loves you. I think
Absolutely.
more than it is important to have a wife who helps you be successful in your church.
Yes.
Because you can have a wife
Absolutely.
who's gifted enough to help you be successful in your church, but ain't wife enough to love you.
Yes.
Just like you can have a
That's
husband.
right.
I don't want to make it sound like it's just
Right.
wives. It goes out
Of
of way.
course. Of course.
I think
Absolutely.
it's more important for you to have a wife that loves you. I'm going to put it a different way so it doesn't just sound like it's all coming at the women. It's important
Yes.
to have a marriage that is healthy
Yes.
and wholesome. That
Absolutely.
is, that your ministry is a part of.
Yes.
But that your marriage is a part of your ministry, but your ministry ain't a part of your marriage.
Your marriage. Wow. 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 Wow.
You know, that's the formula.
I love it.
That's the formula.
I love it. I love it. Last question, Bishop, and I'm going. I greatly appreciate you being on a different perspective.
Man, I
What would you
appreciate
share? Man, listen, I thank you for accepting the position, the time, making the time for us to be on a different perspective. What would you share with some young person, older person, middle-aged person that's going through such a hard time? They're asking God, listen, why am I going through this? I prayed, I fast, I'm living holy, but I still don't know why am I keep on experiencing trial after trial, sickness after sickness, setback after setback. I'm confused at this point. So now I'm on the verge of throwing in the towel and saying I'm done. what kind of encouraging words would you share with that person?
I think the first thing is you don't throw in the towel because God is not through.
Absolutely.
You're on a journey, and
Absolutely.
every setback is just an event. It ain't the journey.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So you manage the moment of the event as you keep walking out the journey. I
Wow.
think if it, I would separate the specifics you named.
Yes.
If I'm having setbacks or challenges, then
Yes.
sometimes the question is why God, but then other times I need to look at myself and see what am I doing something with my decision making process that's
Absolutely.
causing,
Absolutely.
that's causing the setback or the challenges, even
Yes.
down to health, quite honestly. Is there
Yes.
something that I'm not doing to keep myself healthy? So I
Absolutely.
think sometimes we skip the step of being able to look inward and see what I
Yes.
might be able to do
Yes.
to improve my next time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think you have to do that. And then I would encourage you to pray for the spirit of endurance, because
Yes. Yes.
God never promised us answers. He promised us peace,
Wow. Wow.
and he
Wow.
promised us power,
Absolutely.
and above all, he promised us his presence.
Absolutely.
So I think pray for the spirit of endurance and pray for the
Yes.
spirit of discernment, because there's a
Yes.
lesson in everything.
Yes.
What is it I can learn? And I'm not saying God put you in something to teach you a lesson,
Absolutely.
but if I'm
Absolutely.
in it, there is a lesson.
Absolutely. There is a lesson.
And
Listen, Bishop.
you learn the lesson.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And you learn the lesson. That's all I was going to say. And you seek to learn the lesson.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, Bishop, it's been an amazing time with you.
Oh man,
I'm
I
pretty
enjoyed
sure. Listen, man, I enjoyed every minute. We've been on for an hour, and we still have the people live. Listen, I know that there's a part 2 coming up. And listen, we just thank you so very much for being so transparent and sharing with
man.
our viewers.
Nicole Guns, I see her speaking to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I had her on a different perspective not too long ago as well. But listen, Bishop, thank you so much
Oh
for your
man,
time. Thank you
absolutely.
so much for your perspective. Listen, we look forward to have you on a different perspective soon. Looking forward to meet you in person real soon, and chop
Absolutely,
it up in
man.
person.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Grace and peace.
Grace and peace, man.
Thank you, man. Listen, everybody that's still tuning in live, I thank you so very much for being on a different perspective. I believe that this different perspective has blessed and changed the lives of so many people. If you've been blessed by what has happened on tonight, the conversation that we had on tonight on a different perspective, this is what I need you to do. I need you to type in below, I had an amazing, amazing time. It changed my life. I learned something. I picked up something. I want to stay connected with you each and every week. We're coming to you on a different perspective. If you're on Facebook, I'm AOS.Inspires. If you're on YouTube, Snapchat, or Twitter, we're AOS.Inspires. I promise you, if you holler at us, we would definitely holler back at you. You guys are so amazing. This is what I need you to do. I need you to type in below, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. No matter what the enemy has to say, no matter what your haters have to say, no matter what people that don't like you or don't understand what you're doing has to say, I want to let you know, on the other side of this camera, you are so amazing. I thank you so much for tuning in to a different perspective. Like I said, connect with us. If you're on Facebook, we're AOS.Inspires. If you're on YouTube, Snapchat, or Twitter, we're AOS.Inspires. I promise you, if you holler at us, we will definitely holler back at you. Grace and peace.